In this module, we're going to compare the verbs of pedir and preguntar. Let's have a look at these two example sentences. We have, I'll ask for the check, meaning that you're getting ready to leave, say in a restaurant, and I'll ask when the bus leaves. You see, in English, we're using the verb ask in both cases. But in Spanish, you couldn't do that. One of these sentences, it would be correct to use pedir, and in the other sentence, it would be correct to use preguntar. So essentially, we have two verbs in Spanish for to ask. I'd like you to pay close attention to this slide now. We have with the verb pedir this explanation of to request something, whereas with preguntar, we're asking more in a literal sense for information. So this is the key difference between the two. With pedir, we're requesting something, and with preguntar, we're asking for more information. So if we have a look at our two example sentences again, I'll ask for the check. This is a request. Okay, so you are requesting that the waiter brings you the check so you can pay and leave the restaurant. Whereas this one, you're asking for a piece of information. When does the bus leave? When does it arrive? And this is the key distinction to understand between the two. Let's run through some more examples now. The thing to bear in mind as we go through this is that pedir is requesting and preguntar is about asking for information. Let's have a look at this first one. We have the policeman asked to see my driver's license. Now here the policeman is not asking for information, right? He's making a request to see your driver's license. So the correct one to use here for asked would be pedir because it's a request. Now let's contrast that with this one. The policeman asked if I had a driver's license. Now this is asking for information. So he's asking me now to tell him whether or not I have a driver's license. This is now asking for information. Hopefully you can see the difference there between a request and asking for more information. It'll become clearer as we go through more examples. Let's look at this one. I asked my teacher for more time to finish my project. Now, am I asking here for information or am I making a request? So for me, this is clearly a request. I'm requesting more time in order to finish my project, like an extension to the deadline. So I'm making a request for that. Again, let's contrast it now with this one. I asked my teacher how much time I had left to finish my project. You see here now, I'm not requesting anything. I'm asking for more information. I'm asking, how long to go before I get this deadline. So again, here we have clearly pedir because I'm requesting something. And here we have preguntar because I'm asking for some kind of information. But as you can see, the reason why it's tricky for us in English initially is because we're using asked and asked, the same verb in English. As we know now, you cannot do that in Spanish. You must make a distinction between a request and asking for more information. Now, sometimes you have to be very careful in your considerations. For example, look at this. We asked if we could pay it off in installments. So do you think it's pedir or is it preguntar? So this one is going to be preguntar. Now the reason it's a bit delicate is because it sounds like we are requesting something, right? We are requesting the ability to be able to pay off, say, this television in installments. So you might go with pedir for that reason. On the surface, it may seem like that to you, but the reason that it's preguntar is because this word here, if. So we don't know if we can pay it off in installments or not. We don't know that information, and we're asking to know that information. And that is why it would actually be, we would go with preguntar here. When on the surface, I can understand certainly if you went for pedir, because again, it seems at first glance maybe that we're asking or requesting the ability to be able to pay it off in installments. You can see how sometimes it can get quite delicate. This next one we asked how many installments we had left to pay it off. So is this one, again, preguntar or pedir? This one I think is a bit easier. It's preguntar again, because again, this is something we don't know, and we're asking for them to tell us this piece of information. How many installments do we have left in order to pay off whatever it is? Try this next one. I'll ask her if she knows how to do it. So pedir or preguntar. Again, we're going to use preguntar aquí, because here we have if. We're not asking her to do something for us like we would be in a request. We simply want to know this piece of information. If she knows or if she doesn't know. We don't know that, so we are asking to know that information. That one again was a little bit tricky. Look at this one. I'll ask her if she can do it for me. So pedir or preguntar. This again is going to be preguntar. Here we have 4 in a row with preguntar, because once again, I'm asking for this information. I don't know if she can do it for me or not. This is what I want to find out. So I'm using preguntar to find out this piece of information, if she can do it for me or not. I'm not making a direct request to her, because let's type it out here so you can see the difference on one slide. A direct request would be more like I'll ask her to do it for me. Now this is a direct request. Can you see the difference? Here I don't know if she can do it for me or not, and I'm asking to find out. Okay, so this is asking for information. Whereas here, I'll ask her to do it for me. I'm not requesting any information here at all. This is going to be a direct request to her that she does it for me. Try this next one. Can you ask if they can find my keys for me? Would this be pedir or preguntar? This one is going to be preguntar, because again, I don't know if they can find my keys for me or not. Maybe they're busy and they don't have the time or the chance or the inclination to do it for me. So I'm asking if they can find my keys for me. Now, if we contrast that with this one, can you ask them to find my keys for me? Now this is a direct request. This is now pedir, because I'm no longer asking for any information. I'm saying, or I'm requesting you to ask them to find my keys for me. So this is now a direct request. As we go through these and you try to decide if it's preguntar or pedir, one of the easiest ways to do that is really to focus on the fact of, are we at all asking for information? And if you are asking for information, such as in this example, then you're going to go with preguntar. Where in these other ones, it's very clear that you're not asking for any kind of information at all. It really is a direct request. So when it comes to deciding between preguntar and pedir, probably the best advice I can give you is to focus on that key point, is in the question or what you are asking, is there any hint of information that you're asking for, any hint of information? And if there is, you're going to go with preguntar. And if there's no hint of asking for information, such as in this one, then you're going to go with pedir. So focus on that key word of information. Before we go on to a drill of this, I'd like to give you something very useful, which is directly related. We can, in English, ask about someone or about something. And to do this in Spanish, you would use preguntar por. So you're always using preguntar. You're not going to use pedir. And onto the end of that, you're going to tag on por. So for example, he was asking about you. That would be preguntaba, he was asking. And about you would be por ti. So he was asking about you. Preguntaba por ti. Here you can see the formula working. Or this one, I would like to ask about the course. So here we're not asking about a person. We're asking about something intangible, but it doesn't matter. It works in exactly the same way. So we'd have me gustaría preguntar por el curso. I would like to ask about the course. So this is something very useful because we use it a lot in English where you have to ask about something or someone. It's always going to be preguntar. You don't have to worry about pedir. And the about is with por. So you can ask about what happened at the party last night. You can ask about how your uncle is doing, things like that. Preguntar and por. All right, so in part 2, we're going to run through a drill to give you practice on choosing between pedir and preguntar. Remember that pedir is for requests and preguntar is asking about or for information. So those are the two choices that you have. Here's the first one. I asked what happened last night. Would you use pedir or preguntar? So for me, this is preguntar because we're asking for information. We want to know what happened last night. She asked the man nicely if he could move his car. This is preguntar because she's looking for information. She doesn't know if he will do it, if he's willing to do it. So this is asking for information. What about this one? She asked the man nicely to move his car. This now is pedir because she's no longer asking for any information. It's a direct request to move his car. I asked for extra fries with my hamburger. This is going to be pedir because again, we're not asking for any information. We are making this request for extra fries. What about this one? She asked about you. This would be preguntar, and we're adding on por whenever we ask about someone or about something. Ask them if they home deliver. This would be preguntar because you're not requesting something here. You're asking to know this piece of information if they offer the service of home delivery. We spent all day asking if anyone knew where Playa Secreto was. This is going to be preguntar because we're asking for information. We want to know where it is. I think we should ask for help. This is pedir because what we're saying is that I think we should request some help. Again, we're not asking for information here. My neighbor never stops asking me for favors. This is pedir because again, it's like a request here. It's again not information. I would like to ask about the evening art classes you have here. This one would be preguntar por because the key word is here about. I would like to ask about the evening art classes. you have to ask her for forgiveness. This is pedir because it's a request. The workers asked for tomorrow off to celebrate. This again would be pedir because they are making a request to have tomorrow off. Again, nothing to do with information. What about this one? France asked for more time to decide if they'll enter the agreement on climate change. This one is going to be pedir because again, they are requesting, making a request for more time in order to decide. Try this one. Let me ask them where it is. This is going to be preguntar because I'm going to ask them for some kind of information. I'm not requesting that they do anything for me, but I'm going to ask them for this information where it is. Let's go a little bit more delicate now. Imagine that we're, say, in a train station. We have two phrases here. This one, go ask them at the counter. Say we wanted to know what time the train was leaving, and you said to your friend, go ask them at the counter. Would you use pedir or preguntar? This one is going to be preguntar because we're going to ask them for some kind of information. If on the other hand it was go ask for it at the counter, say we wanted a timetable for when the trains leave, which would you use here? So this one now would be pedir because what we would be doing is making a request for a timetable. So you can see just how delicate the distinction can be between go ask them at the counter, which implies that we're going to ask them for some kind of information, versus go ask for it at the counter, which implies that we're going to request that they give us something there. What about this one? Don't ask stupid questions versus don't ask for stupid things. Which one is pedir and which one is preguntar? So the answer is preguntar here. Don't ask stupid questions. Here we're not requesting anything. We're asking about information, but our questions are, according to this person anyway, stupid. Whereas in this one, don't ask for stupid things. Here we are requesting, or it's implying that we are requesting stupid things. So here we have pedir. Again, you can see just how delicate the differences can be. What about this one? My wife asked for her steak well done. This is medium rare. Would you use preguntar or pedir here? This is going to be pedir because my wife requested for her steak to be well done. Again, has nothing to do with asking for any kind of information. So immediately we're into the realm of pedir. People always ask me why I did it. People always ask me why I did it. Pedir or preguntar. This is going to be preguntar because they're asking why, like they're asking for to know the information, this information of why I did it. Again, they're not requesting that I do anything for them. What about this one? People always ask me to show them how I did it. The answer for this one is pedir, because this now is a request. They're asking me to do this for them, requesting that I show them how I did it. So now this is a request and it's no longer information. Most of you have probably noticed at this stage that Spanish makes quite a habit of asking us to make choices. For example, ser or estar, por or para, saber or conocer. And now we have this one of pedir or preguntar, and yes, there are more. I think on the whole, this question of pedir versus preguntar isn't as tricky as some of the others. And hopefully this module has given you a much better handle on it than you had before. As always, if you're still a bit foggy on this question, just repeat the module 1 or 2 more times and give yourself a day's break in between, and you should find that it starts to become clearer and clearer. Remember that through your everyday life, you can also ask yourself whether you would use pedir or preguntar every time you use the word ask in English, and that's also excellent practice. Welcome to part 3. What we're going to do now is some practice in Spanish. But before we begin, there are 2 things that I would like you to be aware of. The first thing is this. Let's take a look at this sentence. I'm going to ask for the check now. The check in Spanish is la cuenta. So imagine that we're at a restaurant and we're asking for the check before we leave. So the first question is then, would you use pedir or preguntar here? The answer is you're going to use pedir because you're not asking for any information, right? This one is a direct request. So pedir means to request. Now, why is that important? Well, if we have a look here, I'm going to ask for the check now. In Spanish, what we're really saying is I'm going to request the check now. And there's a very specific reason why I'm pointing that out to you. If we put the 2 sentences side by side, I'm going to ask for the check now, and I'm going to request the check now. You see how in one we have the word for, and in the other we do not. Now, what this means is that when you're using pedir, you must remember that what you're saying is to request, and that there's no need to put in por or para or be confused about which one you would use, trying to find something in Spanish to substitute for this word in English. So if we had I'm going to ask for the check now in Spanish, that would be voy a pedir la cuenta. You see there's no por or para because pedir means to request. And so we don't have the word here. So that's the first thing to be aware of, is that when you're using pedir, you don't have to worry about the word for, even though you're going to see it in the English sentence that you are translating. The second thing to be aware of is that pedir and preguntar, they're going to take le and les in their pronouns. So, for example, say I'm going to request that he brings me another beer, right? I'm going to ask that he brings me another beer. I'm going to request it. So that would actually be I'm going to request to him, all right? You wouldn't use lo here. You would use le, meaning to him. So you request to him or to them or to her, and you also ask to him, to her, or to them. So just to be aware of these pronouns, pedir and preguntar, will take le and les, meaning to him, to her, or to them. So let's begin. Remember that you're going to translate the entire sentence into Spanish. Can I ask for the check now? ¿Puedo pedir la cuenta ahora? You need to ask for help to fix your car. Necesitas pedir ayuda para reparar tu coche. She wants to ask if you are going to pay the bill today. Quiere preguntar si vas a pagar la cuenta hoy. She wants to ask if you can go to the school today. Quiere preguntar si puedes ir a la escuela hoy. Everyone is going to ask me why I did it. Todo el mundo va a preguntarme por qué lo hice. I have to ask my boss for more time because it's not ready yet. Tengo que pedirle a mi jefe más tiempo porque no está listo todavía. They want to ask you about your father. Quieren preguntarte por su papá. They're going to ask for help because it's too difficult to do it themselves. Van a pedir ayuda porque es demasiado difícil hacerlo ellos mismos. They don't want to ask if it's true. No quieren preguntar si es cierto. He should ask at what time we have to be here tomorrow morning. Debería preguntar a qué hora tenemos que estar aquí mañana en la mañana. You should ask them if they can help us with the boxes. Deberías preguntarles si pueden ayudarnos con las cajas. You should ask for help with the boxes. Deberías pedir ayuda con las cajas. You should ask them for help. Deberías pedirles ayuda. Can I ask you for a favor, please? ¿Puedo pedirte un favor, por favor? I was going to ask her to do something stupid. Iba a pedirle hacer algo estúpido. They should ask if it's going to be possible to finish it this week. Deberían preguntar si va a ser posible terminarlo esta semana. We're going to ask about the concert tonight. Vamos a preguntar por el concierto esta noche. We should ask him for information about the concert tonight. Deberíamos pedirle información sobre el concierto esta noche. I need to ask about the course. Necesito preguntar por el curso. I need to ask Jose for information about the course. Necesito pedirle a José información sobre el curso.